Hello and welcome to Roll for Conversation. Once again, you join us for group therapy, shared despair, and holistic screaming into the void, all while proudly being woke as fuck. Ian, how you doing today?
I'm okay, thank you, Ben. It is just me today because Mark was changing the keg and it exploded and blew his dick off, and that is a
Allegedly.
That's a what's the word? A tribute to Mark and his love of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It hit him in the dick. It's like a chicken pot pie down there. He's dead, but as he keeps telling us, he's been reading quite a lot of like occult shit. So hopefully,
that's what happens.
He'll summon himself back from wherever he's gone, and he'll be back next week. And so we wish him all the best in floating through the some sort of eldritch space,
eldritch plane. Yep.
And then he can summon himself back through one of his tomes that he's been brandishing recently. But apart from that, I'm okay. How are you, Ben?
Yeah, no, I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing very well. I just want to one-up Mark and say that I haven't been banished into an eldritch plane. So I'm immediately doing better than Mark is. But yeah, no, I'm doing very well. First normal length weekend in a very long time, actually. We had the bank holidays, and then I took some time off at some point 2 weeks ago. So having only 2 days has been a little bit of a weird one.
I could change that to it fucking sucks. I feel like mine's even worse because I've got to go do something for work tomorrow, which means I've actually got to get up around 7 or before and travel to Brixton. The Brixton part is neither here or there. It's more getting up early to go. I don't usually do early, so it just feels like... And there's a fair amount of I've been drafted in at the last minute, and there's a fair amount of winging that I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to have to employ all of my tactics of survival and preservation instincts to just get through the day with multiple different clients with difficult questions that I have not really genned up on. But the less said about that, the better. The rest of what I've been doing this weekend as well is that I'm currently in the phase of my workflow for one of my videos, which is I write the script. I usually then sort of go back over it and sort of re-edit it a little bit, but I don't do too many passes because, as we've said before, Ben, I need to keep shit moving. Otherwise I might lose faith in myself and just go off somewhere else. Once I've wrote the script, I checked it once, I then record it. So I recorded that sometime last week.
Yeah.
Or this week, just gone. And then once I've recorded it, the process is that I put it into DaVinci Resolve. And then the next process is I put it in as one block. I think I've said this to you before, and I don't know if your method differs, but I don't do a take and then stop it and go, oh, that was shit, I'm going to do it again. I just do it again, and it's all one thing. And then I've got one file. I can then apply any kind of changes to that, levels. Then once I've got the kind of levels right, then I start going through and essentially editing out every breath or fuck up.
Yes.
And I pull it together, and I've got in DaVinci Resolve, when you cut things out, you can use a kind of a ripple edit thing so that it just pulls everything into...
Snaps it together.
So I don't have to keep moving things around. It's relatively quick. I mean, it's not as quick, but I've basically finished doing that. But because this latest video is about World of Warcraft Classic versus Retail, and because I was going to do a whole kind of series, but when I did the first episode, it did fine for what my channel usually does. I'm at the point where I just go, if it gets over 1,000 views and it gets a couple of subs, then that's moving forward, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But the second one I released didn't get anywhere near that. And because I feel like people were like, oh, well, that's episode 2. they can't be bothered to go back and watch the episode 1 because I don't have enough like size so that or gravity so that I can pull people towards me. I'm not gonna maybe at a certain point, if I had a certain amount of viewers, I could do a series because I know that there's enough subs who are just gonna naturally come back and watch it. So anyway, and the other thing is that tying yourself into doing like a series means that's a long running thing. So I'm just like, you know what? Yeah. I don't think I'm going to do a fucking series. I'm just going to do one video with all of my thoughts about it. I played the fucking game for 3 months. I got like incredibly burnt out on it. And so it's essentially, I've got through that stage and now I'm into the next stage, which is doing all the visuals and stuff, which I think in terms of the difference between the videos that myself and yourself make, mine probably have a lot more stupid editing in it because I'd like to make little visual jokes and stuff like that. And but I imagine there is still the same thing that you probably get when you're editing a video, no matter how simple it is or whatever it is, where you spend quite a long time doing it. You'll be like, oh, I sure am tired. I should get a drink. And you go like, what's the time? Oh, I've spent 3 hours doing this. And then you look on your timeline and you've made like 2 minutes of like progress. So I'm in that stage. But this video is so much longer because, and I knew it, because usually if I just, all of my things are like thought pieces. They're not like, you know, I'm not clever like some of these video essayists where I'm going to arrive at like a, you know, I don't know if you've ever watched people like Jacob Geller and stuff like that, where they go through these different things and there's like, oh, you're revealing a point to me and it's something poignant and thoughtful and educated. Mine are just sort of like, I've got thoughts about it and I just kind of write it. And usually if I don't try and limit myself, my scripts naturally come out about like 5,000 words, and that usually equates to, they usually basically equate to around about 20 to 30 minutes, say 25 minutes for a video. But this one was like closer to 10,000. So I know that this one's going to be like I've now that I've cut it up, I know with a tiny, like few more seconds at the end for a sort of like a little outro where the music will raise again and it will just, you know, please like and subscribe, that it's going to be about just over 50 minutes. So it's fine. I'm going now, like, and it's in that process, but it's I've done that. So I was doing a little bit of that before we started, and then I'm going to have to when we finish this, I'm going to blast through editing the podcast, which has actually been quite pleasant and sort of quite frictionless last couple of weeks. So I think we've found a good sort of rhythm, but that's that's basically what I've been doing all weekend, apart from one other thing. But what have you been doing? And then once you've told me, I shall tell you very quickly about my misadventure with a sort of anime-based MMORPG.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that. Honestly, in terms of like what I've been up to is primarily it's just been homebody stuff and a little bit of just like socializing. So I went out, had a really, really nice like date night last night. That was pretty fun. But honestly, it's just been reading and just catching up with all the things that I wanted to catch up on. Work's been quite busy for me, so I literally played about like 11 hours of Expedition 33 yesterday. It was a monumental session.
Where are you now?
Literally, like, basically, I'm near the end of Act 2. I'm about to fight the Paintress. And for everyone who hasn't watched or played Expedition 33, she's like one of the named big bads in the game. But like, it's just a gauntlet, it seems, at the moment. So it's taking up a lot of time. But thankfully, I'm going to be putting the finishing touches on the Sinner script as well in this upcoming week, and I'm going to start recording as well. So I'm very, very happy for that.
We've all been waiting for this promised Sinners script. Some of us are just waiting because I just want to see the fruits of your labour.
Yeah,
others,
honestly, me too.
Others are waiting for, like, I don't know, to have to give their thoughts upon the actual thing. Because did Mark actually watch the film?
He did. And he said he liked it, but not as much as like I did. The rating he gave hurt my heart a little bit, but where I'm not going to grandstand too much. But yeah, no, I found it very, very, very invigorating and inspiring. So it's one of the reasons why I decided to even try and make videos again. I think one thing that really made me chuckle is just that, like, you said that you spend like some time just like really with your editing to make like visual jokes and just like make it like really, really appealing for folks. I don't know how to do that, so like I will be certainly just asking you like on your wisdom moving forward. But yeah, it's been all right. The weather has been keeping up. Very nicely, and I've been going out
humid here.
Yes, I've been drinking lots of water.
Which I am not really that far from you, but you are closer to the coastline, so maybe you're getting some of that. But I guess the Kent coastline is slightly different to like the Brighton coastline where my brother used to live, which it always seemed to be slightly cooler there. But whenever I've been to the Kent coastline, it's always been nice and hot. But
I'm feeling the exact same at the moment. But yeah, I think it's been pretty chill this weekend. But like I said earlier, I'm slightly lamenting the shorter weekend because having that extra day is nothing but fantastic.
Yeah, the next one's in August, I think. So
it's so far away.
I mean, it's funny that there's a glut around sort of like May, because maybe they should just space them out a bit. I don't care if it relates to a date of significance. They should just space them out for my own mental health, so I don't like then have to feel sad when I think about when the next one is. Perhaps I just take days off just to sort of give myself my own bank holidays. But anyway,
I looked at mine recently, and I was just like, oh yeah, I really do need to take time off.
But talking about having less time at the weekend to do fun things, I am not sure whether I feel that I wasted some of my time, because technically I didn't pay anything and I had kind of 4 hours of sort of fun. But I go and read the news on Massively OP, which is like a mostly MMORPG focused sort of news site, and they often have like advertising for different games, and some of them are like browser games, and I'm like, the advert tells me everything I need to know about this game. But they did have an advert for Crystal of Atlan, I think it is. And so I looked at it, and it looked like classic anime waif women with like massive tits, dudes with like scars over their bodies and sort of like carrying giant sort of like cloud strife fucking swords and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I mean, what is it? It's a new MMORPG apparently, or maybe MMO is better. And so I decided, first of all, I went to their site and I was like, I did a search to say, is Crystal of Atlan safe to download? And when I went there, actually it came up and it's in the Epic Store. So I was like, okay, well, if it's in the Epic Store, then perhaps it's all right. It's made by Nuverse, which I guess are kind of like a Hoyoverse type thing, or the people that make like Genshin and stuff. When I did a quick Google, I could see people saying, you know, like making a comparison to the two. I don't think I got very far into Genshin before I just sort of like, it didn't have enough to keep me in there.
Yeah,
but
me neither.
I downloaded it, started playing it. I couldn't give a fucking shit about what the storyline was. So I stopped bothering to even just quickly press like space to move through dialogues. I just pressed P, which was just skip all that dialogue and just went on to the next thing. It's like a hack and slash. but you have like different sort of skills, and then you can level up these various skills, and they're very I guess my comparison would be something like Black Desert Online, where you've got like these big bombastic sort of like, you know, sword explosions and
Yep.
And I played through for a while as this female character with a gun. Then I thought I'll go back and I'll see what it's like playing with someone with a sword, magi blade or whatever. And then I kind of played through, and as I'm playing through, I'm like, do you know what? When you're actually just playing the game, it's kind of fun. And it was developing. I was like, oh, that's all right. And then, but as it went on, like it started doing, like it just drips things in. Now, from the start, I knew it was it's both on PC, console, and mobile. So I was like, okay, so it's a mobile MMORPG.
Interesting.
But it just started showing signs of like reasons not to play. And so the first couple were that, God damn it, there's a lot of fucking dialogue. You'd go into like dungeons, and at the end of each section, you go, do you want to continue? And I didn't really understand what that was doing, but that will come back in a moment. But I was like, okay, so yeah, well, of course I want to fucking continue. I'm not going to like go out at the end of the first stage of a dungeon.
Yeah.
So because I may have been missing things as well because I was just pressing like skipping dialogues, but I don't think I had, because I think that's half the point, which I'm going to get to in a moment. But then it started doing the whole thing of like, oh, you know, we need to get a new sword. So you equip a new sword, and then you get some new gear, and it starts dropping gear. And then it's like, oh, do you like upgrade your weapon? It's like, okay, cool. I'll go and upgrade my weapon. And then then I noticed that during this process, like you can attach things to increase the chance of your upgrade succeeding, because I was doing I bet you're having Lost Ark flashbacks now. Exactly. And it had a similar thing to Lost Ark. So just to take a quick detour into Lost Ark, I really liked the way Lost Ark played as like an ARPG with big bombastic moves. I quite liked the control system. I enjoyed all of that, the moment to moment, the graphics, everything. But my big beef with Lost Ark was always that every time I logged in, it just fucking flashed windows at me, and there was just things with like red dots on it that I had to click against, and I didn't know what half of this shit was. I was just claiming stuff, and so the same thing was happening here. Plus, it was saying, right, well, if you wanna, I noticed that I pressed in the button, then I was like, oh, it keeps saying upgrade failed. And then I saw a thing saying that, oh, you've only got a 40% chance of success. I was like, oh, okay. And then I did another piece. I was like, oh, you start off at like 100, 90, 80, 70. And it keeps going down the more you upgrade. And then you can attach things to create it and make it. So you need currency plus something to materials to boost your like chance of upgrading. Okay?
Yeah.
So far, so Lost Ark. But then, as I kind of kept playing some more, I was like, you know what? And then it started actually getting, parts of it were a little bit challenging, because I was also thinking, this is fucking easy. But I got to a certain point, and you then start to branch out, and I took my magic sword dude down a berserker path, and then he starts getting these different talents, and you keep upgrading, you keep using them. I'm like, okay, so I mean, maybe there's something to this. And I was recording it because I might make a quick video, and I went, right, I'm going to stop recording now, but I'm going to keep playing. And then I got to a point, I was like, I'm going to record it again, because I got a feeling, because just as I was sort of going along, I noticed that when I was at one of those points where it says, oh, do you want to continue or leave the dungeon? I noticed it had like a little icon next to it with a something, like a number. And it was like a little energy thing. And then I was thinking, okay. And then as I was just sort of like looking around and thinking, I saw next to my character icon in the top left, I saw a count with the little icon next to it. And I had 5 of whatever this was left. And I noticed that every stage had that same icon and basically telling me it cost 5. And I was like, oh, Oh, so I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to record because I'm pretty sure if I go into another dungeon, it's going to say you cannot continue because you have no more energy. Now,
Yeah.
energy,
Yeah.
I think then what I saw is that energy is basically something that tomorrow I will have energy again. So it's just a mobile game. Like it's one of those. It's like fucking Candy Crush or whatever. So I was like, okay, because part of me was thinking, if this game was just fighting in this combat system all the way through with none of this other shit, just made me an action adventure game, it might be quite enjoyable. Like the graphics look really good. It was kind of like quite snappy. It felt fun to just smash the fuck out of everything with giant like anime moves. But then I was just like, oh, you are fucking kidding me. You are literally gating my ability to play the game behind energy. And I was like, and finally, after 4 hours, the game has revealed itself to me. And now I will just uninstall the game because there's no fucking point in going on with it. So that was 4 hours, which didn't cost me anything. But I think that it's very insidious that it's like, didn't really, or if it didn't make a big fucking deal out of it because some things I naturally picked up that I had to do. It wouldn't let me do things without knowing about it. Now, obviously, it had flashed me a message, so I could have put together myself, but some things were shown to you, and you know, like when a tutorial will highlight something and flash, and you won't let you do anything else but click on that one thing it wants you to address. So it did everything else, but I don't feel like it really communicated to me that you have so much energy, and we are spending energy on playing the actual game. Because that's the thing.
Let you quietly do it.
I just wanted to play the fucking game, so I was just skipping past everything. And so, basically, I spent 4 hours playing a game only to find out that it basically is gating my progress. And do you know what? For everything that Lost Ark did, like having to fucking boost shit just to like improve the chances of your your upgrades going through on your weapons and your gear, it never fucking stopped me going back and running the same fucking dungeon again and again. Because obviously the upgrade material that we mentioned earlier, how am I going to get those materials from running dungeons
in the first place?
I was just like, do you know what, like crazy. And which makes me wonder, because like obviously I searched for it again. And I saw a lot of people making videos just going like, this is the worst game. But I was like, who likes these games? Because I can't seem to see that it's, as far as I know, that it's tied to any other property. So it's not like it's preying on the fans of an anime. I don't think.
It's just its own independent IP.
Yeah, so like, why are you going to get into that? See, like, even I know that like Genshin Impact has that gacha bullshit in it, so it's like preying upon, you want to like Pokemon, you want to collect them all or whatever. It's, I don't know, like it feels like you're putting an immense amount of friction and obstacles in the way of someone becoming hooked on the game, because you want people to be hooked in order to keep. I'm going to buy packs of upgrades, because it showed me the shop very early on. That was another warning sign. It's like, oh, I can buy all these things.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to ask. I was like, did it give a little nod to the shop saying like,
of course,
if you're running low, you can buy them.
Of course, and you get to go in and claim your free reward, which is like part of like, you know, trying to subtly introduce you to the fact that that's where you get things. I feel like as a calculated move to try and hook someone in, I don't know, like maybe you need to give someone more. Like if someone gets 20 hours in and then you really start hitting them with the like, oh, I can't progress unless I buy more energy. Maybe that would actually work a bit more. But like after 4 hours, and do you know what? I played through another character until about level 13 or something before. So I spent a good hour or so playing as a different character, then went and played the swordsman. So in fact, that's even less time. So you're trying to cock block someone only literally a few hours into the game, which is like, why? If this is an unknown IP as well, like, why the fuck would I care? I mean, I guess some people just look at that style of art and just go, "Oh, this is my thing."
This is
I'm sure if I make a video about that, a short video, just fucking talking about how predatory he is, I'm sure I'm going to get some fucking, even me as a little tiny small bean is going to get some real rabid defenders in there, because I guess it's just that they've already sunk hundreds of pounds into it and they're going to have to defend their life choices. But anyway, it was interesting, but I guess along with it being a normal weekend again and doing quite a lot of editing, which I do kind of enjoy, but yeah, it didn't feel like I sort of just relaxed and did whatever. So, I did play Night Rain though. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Very quickly, because we should move on to sort of some more interesting things. It's like it plays like Elden Ring, but it doesn't play like Elden Ring. So like, if you played Elden Ring, you know how it controls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's just a very different sort of style of game. I quite like it, even with like playing with randoms. But I think that the main thing, it's like an extraction shooter. There's 2 days. Each day you play, just like Fortnite or PUBG, the circle on the map kind of shrinks in. Only when you're in the circle, like in like Fortnite and stuff, you can run in the mist for quite a while and try and get yourself out. Whereas in here, like within seconds, if you get caught in the outside of the actual ring that you're supposed to be in, you'll fucking die almost immediately. But you run around, you're dropped into the map, you're basically fighting in like churches and things like this when you're killing sort of bosses, and if you kill like world bosses, you get better upgrades for your weapons. And then once you've at the end of like, as the thing closes, you'll get to the end of a day. When you get to the end of a day, you then fight like a mini boss. And then if you defeat them, you move to day 2. Same thing happens again. And all the time you're trying to like accrue more power and then get to the end where you fight a Night Lord. So the first one is this 3-headed wolf with a massive sword, and you're kind of fighting it in the desert where General Radan is in Elden Ring, something like that. And and that's basically it. And it's a cycle. There's lots of different bosses, so you'll be able to do different. Once you've beaten a boss, you'll be able to do another boss, but it's always like a run. So it's kind of like playing a game of PUBG. It's also got roguelike elements. The thing is that you can die during the game, and every time you die, you lose a level that you've accrued. So it's not like Elden Ring where you could just go in and go, right, I'm going to pump everything into all my runes into like HP or damage.
Intelligence only runs, which I've done once.
You just go to a grace point and you'll just upgrade, and it'll just take you to the next level, and that just generally just overall just increases. So there's no worry. The only things you have to make, it's quite fast paced. The only choices you have to make is I've killed like a big enemy in the open world, and I'm given a choice of 2 kind of like special weapons. Which one will I take? There's different types. So one of them's ranged, one of them's like a bruiser, one of them's like a swordsman, one of them has a big axe, one of them fires magic. So you choose like a hero. So it's like a kind of like a hero shooter in that way. You're not making your own character. But it's very hard on your own, but it was very fun, even with randoms. So if, for instance, say like the 3 of us were to play it at some point, it would be very fun with friends, because you'd be talking to each other. You can, if one of you's downed, the other one you can hit your friend to like bash away this kind of purple malaise that's on them, and that will help them get back up. So you can kind of stay in the fight and, let's go over here, let's go over there. Anyway, yeah, it's very good. I think it'll be very good fun if you're playing it with friends, but it was very frustrating on its own. But I've got a feeling that it's going to be kind of like nerfed a little bit and changed and patched. And apparently because at the moment you can only play either one player or with 3 players. You can't play as a duo.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think they're gonna like try and put duos in, but that's anyway. But I played it for a few hours, and it's definitely worth the. It's like 30 quid or something, so it's not like it's a
Won't break the bank.
full price release or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right, no, sounds good. I'll see if I can pick that up at some point and play it with you and Mark. But yeah, no, excellent. Yeah, sounds like we've had a pretty jam-packed weekend. Do you want to go over and start talking about the craziness that this week has been in the political sphere?
this weekend or the the last 2 weeks, I don't know.
2
We've got
weeks,
a selection of things to talk about. So yeah, let's. Why don't we do that?
Yeah, I think one of the first ones to just one who was just obviously when it was talking about just like bringing back enforced chemical castration and the inevitable widening of definition of sex offender. I think this one in particular, when I was just reading the profile from Lee Hurley, I think one of the things that I just found is just that like this feels almost like almost in a sense of like history repeating itself. I do know that there have been a lot of right-wing sentiment where people have been talking about just either gay people or trans people who have had been called offenders just because of who they are and just like who are like their own basically just like their own identity. I know historically this certainly happened even in the UK just previously. I remember specifically with Alan Turing.
Yep.
That was one of the biggest red flags. And when I was just reading this, I was like, oh God. I feel like it just feels like every single year we're taking a step backwards of having actual like rights that protect the smallest population. But yeah, I think just reading through that just really just made me really just uncomfortable. I think there's been a
no. You finish your thought.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think unfortunately there's been a very targeted and very well funded campaign against the smallest minority of actual just like actual just like trans people and just like people who don't convey to the social norms. And I say that in inverted commas because obviously I am speaking over the microphone, but I think when policies like this are put in place, it very much puts people who like the minority in danger, because especially if the right wing have been talking about how trans people and just like other just like small minorities are just quote unquote sex offenders, and just like they're not pretending to like their gender or like sex. That's when they start to really start to put policies in place like this. But it's just a giant red flag, because I feel like a lot of the times when certain policies are in place, I think about like how is this going to be abused by the people who are in power, essentially.
It is a bit like what comes next, like,
yep.
Which ironically I generally like don't subscribe so much to the slippery slope argument, but it is a bit of a slippery slope argument to like, well, they put this in or they change the way you can define things, means that like you can see how they're going to make a play further down the line to either target a secondary group of people. So like the whole thing with the trans community is obviously opening them up to be able to target generally the queer community.
Yeah.
But with this particular story, there is that part which is just that I mean that's just classically, I would say, more religious right, but generally the right anyway. Well, like they just see anything as, it's funny how if you're gay, then it's sexual deviancy or it's sexual, but if you're straight, then it's not, because like a lot of the time, you know, we hear stories about people saying, well, we don't want that gay teacher talking about or letting the students know that they have a husband or something if they were a man. But it's fine if a female teacher was to talk about her husband. But anyway, so there is that kind of double standard. They're always they always like to trot that one out, like, because that's why they say it, don't they? Like, I'm fine with the gays, the trans, whatever, but just don't target the children. It's like, yeah, but they're not. Anyway,
at all.
I don't. This is about talk about chemical castration here, so this is not just necessarily for gay people, but like you were saying, if they are stretching what they class as a sex offender, because really this is to be, I guess, targeting rapists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Serial rapists or whatever. But they're going to call that rapist a sex offender. It's just like how fucking Israeli Hasbara machine wants like to tie everything to criticism of Israel is basically anti-Semitism, and they've changed almost the definition so that they can put that label on anything they want. Like that here, oh, well, it's first of all, it's for sex offenders, violent sex offenders, but if we then start sort of changing definitions, and we can then say, what is the definition of a sex offender? Is it like a drag queen that talks to kids? Because that's what they also think that's perverting kids or grooming kids when it's not. Yeah. Then, like you said, then do you come back round to a kind of like an Alan Turing situation where they want to, But second thing about this, and the thing I feel like this is more in line with, is it just feels to me like it's very much indicative of Labour's current thing of just like trying to perform, look how hard we are, look how hard we can be, to like this like right-wing sort of
decisions.
Audience. Yeah. Well, just like, it's like they just, it's like they want to show or prove something. So like, oh, look how many deportations we're going to do. Look how it, it's like, that's kind of crazy. But the other thing about this as well is that it's kind of like childish reasoning or logic. Like, we'll just chemically castrate people. We'll just like, it's kind of like it feels a little bit, and maybe it's not quite as this, it might be even more insidious and clever, or devious, but it feels a little bit like if you talk to someone, oh, okay, if you talk to me back fucking 20 years ago or something, and I didn't know anything about things that went on in the Middle East, but like the Iraq war was going on or whatever, and I was just generally scared and nervous because you just see it on the news. And what my teenage boy uneducated opinion might be something like, oh, we should just bomb them all and be done with it. Like, what the fuck was I saying? Like, stupid, like absolutely stupid, unfeeling, uncaring. But it's like it's a very childish thing. It's like, I'm scared of this thing and I just want it to go away and I don't want to have to think about it anymore. It feels a bit like, it feels like it edges on that. Like it's like a stupid person way of dealing with a problem. But rather than, it's like a salt the earth type thing rather than let's think of the nuances.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, serial sexual offenders should obviously not be out in the community. And I mean, we must sort of point out that, like it says here, that it does say Shabana Mahmood will consider overhauling medical and legal convention that medical treatment must receive the consent of the individual, which I was just about to say there. Oh, look, they are saying that it's only going to be something if someone consents, but I've just realised what I've read is she will consider overhauling the medical legal convention, which I guess means that is the current medical legal convention.
Yeah.
And she will overhaul it so that they can just fucking
do it,
chemically castrate you. So I think it's just, like you say, Ben, it's just it's indicative of the slide of where we're going. I mean, it kind of feels mad that this sort of shit is working. That let's just target gay, LGBTQ, trans people, whatever, or you know. I don't know. It just feels like a show of force as well, like a stupid show of force. I don't know. It just all seems like really like unintelligent policy making and thinking, and it's definitely like red meat to the fucking Daily Mail reading fucking smooth-brained idiots. But I don't know. I don't really have anything more to say on that, Ben, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
apart from it's depressing. But I suppose if we look at the next 2 points that we've actually got on the list, which is kind of like they all are kind of connected, because one of them is there's a sort of like a Instagram post from Cosmopolitan UK saying that police have been given new guidance on how to search a woman's phone, home and period tracking apps following a pregnancy loss if an illegal abortion is suspected. Now, I was not under any kind of like idea that abortion was anything but legal in all cases in this country, but apparently there is a Victorian law dating back to 1861 known as the Offences Against the Person Act, which I'm guessing the way this is connected here is that, like you were just saying about, where does this end? Well, we've already, the other day, Nigel Farage stood up at that speech and was talking about people having more kids and stuff like that. And it's like, let's not kid ourselves who Nigel Farage thinks should be having more kids. It's fucking white people. But anyway, he didn't say that, but he was talking about, he did mention abortion, and it just struck me. And before I'd even read this thing here, it did strike me as, oh, this is going in a bit of a weirdly American direction where you just wonder, are these people going to start fucking using, because we do have a legal system littered with stupid fucking laws that no one really thinks to change because they're just so old and don't mean anything anymore. Just things like, famously, there's a hilarious law that, if a Welshman is coming, from the east, approaching your well on your land, and you have a certain amount of acreage or something, then you are legally allowed to shoot them with a crossbow, but it must be a crossbow. So, but that was obviously something that was there from fucking medieval times or something. There's no point in taking that out because it's just not anyway. So but you do wonder whether that is going to be something that is going to be used by someone to start leveraging, because the right in general does want to police women's bodies and their rights. Yeah. And then the second thing, which is, before you give me your take on both of these things, which is just to show that this is a bit of an alarming sort of global thing, that 100%. Apparently Sweden has gone ahead and passed a draconian Nordic model bill criminalizing online creator content. So the idea is to protect women from exploitation, but they're attacking things like OnlyFans, which is essentially a way of democratizing, as I don't know if that's the right word I'm using there, but it is a form of being able to give power to women to monetize and perform their own sex work in a certain way. And you say it's to protect women, but you're taking away these avenues. It's kind of controlling women really through under the guise of that. So basically, go right back to the beginning of your argument about how it's just right using things and eroding rights for groups of people and then subsuming other groups of people into that. It was bad enough when they were attacking trans people and then making eyes at the queer community and stuff, gay and lesbian. But now and I suppose it shouldn't be surprising because obviously the whole Roe v. Wade thing in America, but now they're like, these motherfuckers really do just want to drag us back to the 50s or something. And I was watching some people talking about, some right-wing dickheads talking about, well, actually, women were happy back then. It's like, no, they didn't have the right to fucking tell you that they were unhappy. So they really want to drag us back to this kind of period of time. And I just don't know, like, where it kind of ends at the moment, because no one's going to fucking accept this. So what are you going to do? You're going to have to beat women into submission, because they ain't going back in the box, and nor fucking should they. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think you've touched upon quite a few of the points that I was going to discuss, but just like from my perspective, I do feel that like the marriage of just like tech and just like people's daily lives cannot be undermined. Like, for example, the first one, when we're talking about just like how police have been given a little bit more advice to search women's phones. I was reading like a really good article about it on The Observer, when like national guidance were just like suggesting for a policeman to like look at tracking apps or just like or anything else for abortion drugs. It's just that like having those draconian measures in place doesn't do right by anyone. Like, I think there was a very, very big thing over in the States. I can't remember which app it was. I'll certainly find it after this. But I do remember that there were quite a few wellness apps that were kind of caught with their pants down, because they actually showed that like they not only were like kind of like holding the data, but some of these places were also just like selling the data on. And it's just like, when you have like such a big model of like folks of people, women and just like femme-presenting women with like their biological data being sent over to like some server in like God knows where, like that personal, like that personal and just like really private information can be used at anyone's behest. I do know that there have been certain companies, one also that's in a little bit of trouble right now with like their database in itself. Palantir have been poking around in the UK.
I did see something about that, but I just
yes. It is just that like this should not be a thing that is happening. Like it goes without saying. Like, obviously, just like when you're talking about the Offences Against the Person Act, yes, that was like still in place, and like because of the Abortion Act of 1967, it does allow women to end their pregnancies for up to 24 weeks, and just like there are other certain circumstances that can apply, but it's just that like it doesn't feel right, fair, genuine, or like it doesn't feel like ethical, I guess, just for like it to be technically under like criminalized, because like right now it is still technically criminalized. And I was just searching, like there have been just like petitions just like going on again and again and again, just about like, hey, let's decriminalize abortions, which like should have been done many a year ago. But I do feel that like, and I really hate to say this because and I will go with a very, very small tangent here, just stay with me, Ian. It's just that like I do know that there was a certain level of disdain from like the wider British sphere, talking about like, oh, these are just like Americanized politics, let's not bring that in here. But like the door's already open, the wolf is already in the kitchen. Like we're not at the point where we're asking, like, hey, don't bring this over here. The wolf is already there, salivating over just like the precious baby chicks that had been like born like 2 weeks ago or something. It's just like the problem's already there. You already have Nigel Farage saying exactly what he said about like abortions. You also just have like, from just like the kind of like wider global scale, you do have like politicians putting in this really weird policies that aren't really affecting anyone except, you know, people who just want to live their own lives. I think just moving quickly over to when you were talking about just like the ban of OnlyFans in Sweden, it's just that like you hit the nail on the head, where it's just that like, to my knowledge, OnlyFans is just pretty much just like someone has a profile, and I assume it's like Patreon, that like that a woman or anyone else just can go on there. They have their space. They don't have to put their like address or anything, because like if they've banned OnlyFans and just like that avenue of just like creating money for themselves and just like having a living, like the only other option possibly would just be like to go to a physical place where like anything can happen, and like that's where the safety isn't prioritized at all.
Yeah. Well, I think that we may have to drop some things from the running order to keep on this topic, because once something you said there, which is fine, there's one we'll keep at the end. The other things we can take or leave. But I feel like what you were saying about the American politics and the wolf already being in the kitchen is that this is not like I think in America there are legitimately more evangelicals, Christians. So this is tied more to in a slightly more genuine way, like the Christian faith or faith. Whereas like we here in the UK, obviously we are a Christian nation. We're founded upon Christian values, as it were. However, we are, and this might be changing, but we are generally a more secular society. And I really just think that a lot of the time, and this is why I made the distinction between America first, having a bit more legitimacy in like, because God damn it, some motherfuckers over there are so cooked like religiously with Christianity. But I feel like, and to tie this back to Farage and everything else, I was watching clips the other day on Turn Left media on YouTube where they'd gone to like a rally or something, and it was something to do with like right-wing bullshit, because the people they were interviewing, all they kept talking about was small boats. All they kept talking about was taking their country back, you know, Pakistani rape gangs, just all the laundry list of all the classics. But a lot of them were saying what this country needs is Jesus. And like, that's kind of funny anyway, because it's like, oh, is this person a kook or whatever? But like that feels like much more in line with the American way of thinking. But it's, what I'm saying here is that I don't know if I believe these people to be completely truthful. As in, I think that when you see a lot of these fucking coked up, fucking red-faced thugs who are down there supporting people like Tommy Robinson and stuff like that, when they're sort of talking about like Christian values and stuff like that, I don't think any of these fucking cunts give a shit about going to church. I don't think they believe in Jesus. I don't think they believe in any of that. I think they've known, and this is a broader discussion across history that I suspect played into a lot of religion in the distant past, the distant past, the near past now, is that religion is a good way of fucking controlling people, but it's also a good way of excusing yourself to be able to do certain things. And I think that a lot of these fucking chuds, when they, Britain First kind of fuckheads and that, when they start harping on about this shit in Christian nations, essentially what that means is anyone else but white Christian people. Like, so you use that as a shield to basically wage your war on Muslims or anything else like that. So I just doubt the validity of these people and their faith. I think they like to wear the cape of Christianity because it kind of affords them the ability to fucking do their racism and do their xenophobia. That's sort of what I think about that. And I feel like that it's not just xenophobia, it's not just racism, it's also goes back into controlling women. As again, it's kind of like taking themselves back to a time. But I feel like a lot of people are using religion as a shield. In America, I don't know. because some people genuinely do, but I would suspect a lot of them really don't give a fucking shit. Look at JD Vance. He converted to Catholicism, didn't he, recently? Just to for what? Like, I don't think he was like Catholic before. I mean, I don't want to get bogged down in fucking JD Vance. That's a different story for a different time. But yeah, I feel like all of these topics are all around the same thing. Is this idea of like rolling fucking civilization back to a point whereby there's only one set of people that really benefit from it, and it's fucking men.
Yeah.
And the patriarchy, and everyone's going to fucking groan about like mentioning the patriarchy and stuff like that. But to be quite fucking honest, like, it's funny how a lot of these things that men have got a raw deal. Men are suffering from mental health issues because the patriarchy tells them that they've got to be a fucking big man. And that just makes people go a bit mad in their heads because that you live into those kind of like expectations that you can't live up to in modern society, not with an equal society. And, you know, I feel for them, but at the same time as we're supposed to have sympathy for men, it's like, it's funny though how all of these things that they want or that they're fighting for are all very much beneficial to them. And if they're not beneficial to them, like, I don't know where I'm going with that point, but like, I hear a lot of them like saying, well, women will be happier as well. And it's like, no,
Have you
I
talked to a
don't
woman?
think so. All of these ideas, they just benefit you.
Yeah.
So all of this is about control. All of this is very much kind of like patriarchal. And then just to bring it to your favorite beef, Ben, all of it is about fucking capitalism, because you're talking about data and selling data and stuff like that and collecting data. Why does that happen? It happens because they want to fucking sell your data. Collect more data to sell it. But what does having that data collected allow them to do? It then allows them to do fucking demented shit like get police to check people's phones and period trackings app and stuff. So I guess I'm going to segue us, unless you've got something specifically to say on that, because we're kind of approaching time. Because we're talking about capitalists, why don't we segue and you tell us something fun and light to finish on, that being the recent Elon Musk news?
Yeah, no, I suppose in this world where tech companies are mining for every single bit of data, selling it on to the next highest bidder so that they can advertise more things with your personal information, we are ending this week with some slightly lighter and hilarious news. It's just that Elon apparently got clocked in the face by his little kid. Allegedly, that's what he said. But
allegedly, with about 25 fucking inverted commas around it.
I think one of the things that just really cracked me up the most was just that, like, obviously he's taking a step down from his position in the White House, whatever that really was.
He's taking his toys and he's crying and running away, more like, but yeah.
Yeah, and it has been great because some random press photos of him like in the White House also showed him just like sporting that whatever hat that he had, and just like a lovely little shiner as well, which has made my day a little bit. It's just...
I mean, it is pure conjecture, obviously, but I mean, I feel like in such a terrible, terrible hellscape, a little bit of theory crafting around who might have smacked Elon Musk. Obviously, I mean, we could probably figure some proper mad ideas, but like, there has been people talking about the fact that it might be like, I can't even be bothered to go and find out what the guy's name is, because searching it would mean engaging with it. But someone's wife who works at the White House has gone to work with Elon. Yeah. So I feel that means that's fueling sort of suggestions
Rumors.
that of an affair. But as we were talking about briefly before we started recording, like that's not really Elon's style, is it? He prefers to sort of like
God.
like
Send an
fucking
NDA and a blank check.
yeah, like some weird like fucking Baron Harkonnen just sort of sending out his fucking seed. And like you said, a blank check and an NDA. But it's a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, it is very funny to see that he pumped all that money into Milwaukee and he got fucking slapped back. It's very funny to see him take like fucking news reports and kind of cry about like, well, people don't like me and stuff. It's like, oh, you think? And it's very funny to watch him like slink off and go on, I don't think I'm going to put so much money into politics now. And like, woe is me. But at the same time, you've got people saying, oh, Doge was a failure by every level. But it wasn't really, was it? Because you know what he has managed to do? He's managed to fucking disrupt and fuck up all like the investigations or anything against him and his like various companies. So
yeah.
No matter what anyone says, and no matter how funny it is to watch Elon Musk have to reckon with the fact that all he wants is for people to like him and nobody fucking likes him. Not even Trump fucking likes him. He just like tolerated him.
Yeah.
But as much as funny as that is, he's fucking succeeded and he's got away with doing whatever. And even though he's like slinked off and he's been made to look a fool, he's not only has he halted certain investigations into like that would curtail his kind of like capitalist endeavors, he's also like got himself deals for his Starlink and stuff like that, or the Golden Dome or whatever. He's picked up another couple of like
billion
government contracts as well. So he should be the one fucking laughing, really. So any laughs that we have at his expense are cheap and almost like meaningless, because he's fucking got away with it again.
Yeah. He's ran out with a black eye and not even a couple, I imagine, several billions worth of government contracts, which, again, is depressing to think about. But, again, I will always cherish the look of that black eye on his face.
Yeah, I mean, I think that my last parting shot would be, and this is like tapping into the very meanest side of and absolutely empathy devoid part of me, which is there was another report about apparently he can't piss fucking straight or piss properly because he's just at certain times because he's just been doing so much fucking ketamine and so much like Adderall and stuff like that. So I mean, my like it's very horrible. Like usually I would have more sympathy for people, whoever they are. Like fucking Christ, I remember when Richard Spencer, the fucking Nazi, got like punked, and such is that my empathy that I felt bad for him because I could see that he was quite upset, which he's a Nazi, so fuck him. but I can't not see someone be upset and not feel for them to a degree. But I have none for these two people, and I, you know, I'm not ever going to call for a fucking Luigi Mangione attack or anything, but I don't think you need to. I just hope that he fucking just kills himself through insane amounts of drugs, because if he don't sort himself out, surely that's going to fucking happen. And I don't know, part of me just like, Trump just needs to fucking eat one too many burgers and just pop off, like just quietly just fucking go. I mean, I should roll back everything I just said there and add like in Minecraft or whatever, but I don't know. I think, do you know what? To give us to do a callback, I'm tapping into that thing I said earlier of it's like dumb logic. It's just emotionally charged dumb logic. I just want them out of the way. But I don't think that will really solve anything. So I guess we just have to continue living in the world that we currently live in. So good. At least there'll be something to speak about in 2 weeks' time when we do another current affairs episode.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that certainly covers it. I think the only thing that we have left is probably just to roll for next week's big topic.
Yep. And next week is the big topic.
Yep. And
why don't you roll this in, Ben, so that we can spend our week preparing on what other dark philosophical place we need to take ourselves to.
And just for any new listeners, essentially we're matching our logo and we're using a D20 to roll for the topic. So I have a cute green little dice here with a golden numbers, and that's the one that we're going to use today. I've never used this one, but of course we're going to roll, and from topic from 1 to 20, whatever it lands upon will be our topic next week. Oh my goodness. Okay. Interesting. Number 1. We're talking about anime next week.
Oh, I've been looking forward to this one.
Wow.
I'm not a big anime head, but yeah, I've been looking forward to this. Give it to us, Ben.
Yeah. The title of the episode will be, am I one episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure away from attending an anime convention dressed as an overweight Sailor Moon character? Now that gives me quite the visual.
Mark wrote that one, I think, which technically he's lobbed that hand grenade in here and then run away this week.
He has the cheek.
But yes, but what's in the description? Give us a bit more meat.
Yeah,
to prepare ourselves.
So here's what we're going to be talking about next week: our favorite anime, animation in general, bad experience in nerd environments, which is opening up literally Pandora's box. Like that is not reserved to the anime.
We'll have to keep that one on check a bit. It could go on forever.
And I assume this was from Mark, why Akira gave me nightmares and repeatedly things that have terrified me since. I
think we're going to have many interesting conversations around Akira. Have you seen Akira, Ben?
I have not. It's very, very bad. Like I will make it my personal endeavor to see it before next Sunday.
Yeah, no,
but I do now.
I'm not chiding you for not seeing it, but I'm just like, it's unfortunate because I feel like you should watch it because I know that me and Mark are both going to have a lot to say about it.
That's all right.
I feel like you've come from another generation of like anime consumers, but that was our way in. So for a lot of people, but
I mean, it is referenced quite a bit in like all sorts of different media.
All I'll say, well, not even just that, just the classic motorbike skidding.
Yes.
Anyway, but watch it or watch parts of it, even if you watch like the intro bit.
Yep.
And when you watch it, then I want you to go and look up when it was made.
Okay.
And then be fucking amazed at how good it looks, hand drawn in the fucking 80s, and how similar and like it's. I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I say that, like, the whole kind of first intro bit going through Tokyo City on the bikes and stuff like that, or New Tokyo, like, it could be the best looking animation. And I still think it stands up to this day, but I will be very interested for you to watch it and then give your opinion, because I know you watch other anime, and it's to have someone that doesn't have all the emotional like attachment to it. Give me their honest appraisal will be very interesting to hear. So yeah, I'm going to look forward to that one, and we shall let Mark know when he's summoned himself back from the fucking
the nether plane. Yeah. But yeah, no, that sounds definitely good. And I'll make sure to watch it before next Sunday. But that is it for us, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Please do follow us on all our socials. They'll be in the description down below. And comment to let us know your thoughts on this week's topic. Have a great day wherever and whenever you are, and we'll see you all next time.